Today we are going to be talking about Palantir stock, which has become one of the most talked about names in the entire market. In this video, we are going to take a look at the company's recent announcement, talk about why the stock is still getting attention, and break down the latest AI expansion headlines and look at the political noise now building around the business, especially in the UK. And then go over what it would actually take for Palantir to get a much higher price from here. If you enjoy the video, drop a like down below, and if you want to see more videos like this one, please make sure to subscribe. Because Palantir is not just another software name anymore, it is one of those names that have become a full-blown market personality. And every earnings report becomes an event, every contract becomes and is treated like a clue, and every analyst note starts a new debate. Every move in the stock seems to spark 1,000 different opinions, and that is exactly why Palantir keeps getting so much attention. Right now, Palantir is still trading around the mid-130s, and the market is still valuing it like one of the most important AI software companies on the planet. That alone tells you that this is not a sleepy stock. It is the kind of name where investors are just waiting around for slow and steady progress. This is the stock that lives in the center of the conversation because the market keeps trying to answer one giant question. Is Palantir simply an expensive stock, or is it one of the few companies that are actually building the software layer for the AI era? And the question is the whole game. And that's why the evaluation keeps getting debated every single day. The market is clearly not treating Palantir like a normal software company. It is pricing it like a strategic AI winner. It is pricing it like a business that could become more important over time, not less important. It is pricing it like a company that might have a very long runway if it keeps executing. At the same time, the skeptics are looking at that same valuation and saying, yes, the company is growing, but how much perfection is already in the stock? And as mentioned earlier, we look at the company has raised its full year 2026 revenue guidance to $7.662 billion, and its US commercial revenue growth expectations to more than 120% for the year. And that's the kind of report that makes people sit up, because it's not just an ordinary growth. It's a mature software company grinding out a few percentage points of expansion. This is a company that is still putting up extraordinary numbers while also convincing the market that the next chapter could become even bigger than the last one. This is where Palantir becomes so interesting. And first, it tells you the business is broadening. Second, it tells you the AI story is not just some abstract marketing concept. Third, it tells you both commercial and government sides are contributing to the growth story. So this is important because when people discuss Palantir, they often try to reduce the entire company to one story. Some people call it a government contractor. Some people call it an AI platform. Some people call it a hype stock. Some people call it the most important enterprise software in the market. The truth is a little more complicated than a single label. Palantir is a company with multiple engines. It has the government relevance, it has the enterprise expansion, it has AI software positioning, it has a growing platform story, and it has a market that keeps rewarding the company for every sign that the business is becoming more central to modern decision-making. And now one of the things that really stands out about Palantir is how much of the story comes down to artificial intelligence. Palantir's own materials describe the business as a software that helps organizations integrate data. If AI is going to change the way the businesses and governments operate, then somebody has to build the layers that organizations use to organize the data structures, the workflows, and turn raw intelligence into action. Palantir is trying to sell the market on the idea that it is one of those companies, and that is why the stock carries such a huge premium. Because if investors believe Palantir is not just participating in the AI wave, but helping define the operating system for it, then they are willing to pay a much higher multiple than they would for a normal software business. Now, let me talk about the newest geopolitical and political angle, because this is another part of the story that is starting to matter. Reuters reported that a UK parliamentary committee called Britain's reliance on Palantir an unacceptable weakness, pointing to the company's growing role in the public sector and concerns over vendor lock-in, national dependence, and strategic risk. The report focused heavily on Palantir's role in the National Health Services and raised questions about whether the UK should rely so heavily on a US technology company for such sensitive infrastructure. That's the kind of headline that can create noise around the stock, even if it does not necessarily change the long-term business thesis overnight. Because on one hand, that is a reminder of how deeply embedded Palantir has become in critical systems. On the other hand, it is also a reminder that the company's work in public sector data and defense-adjacent environments can attract political scrutiny. This is the trade-off. When a company becomes strategically important, people pay attention. When people pay attention, they also start asking more uncomfortable questions, and when those questions show up in the headlines, the stock can feel it. That is exactly why this business is so interesting. Palantir is not just a company with growing revenue, it is a company sitting at the intersection of AI, government, defense, enterprise, software, politics, and market speculation. That is a lot for one stock to carry, but it also helps explain why investors cannot stop talking about it. And now let me talk about the actual number and what they imply. At a valuation that is this rich, investors are not really buying yesterday's earnings, they are buying the next several years of execution. Now let me address the UK angle a little more deeply, because it is worth understanding what it means. The criticism from UK lawmakers does not necessarily mean Palantir's business is broken. It means that the company's role has become politically sensitive, and this is a sign of influence, but also a sign of risk. When a company becomes embedded in critical public systems, it can be praised for its capabilities and criticized for its power at the same time, and that is what is happening here. The fact that Palantir is even part of a major parliamentary debate tells you the company is no longer operating in obscurity. It is operating in strategic territory that can create friction, but it can also create long-term defensibility, because once a company is embedded deeply enough in important systems, it becomes much harder to ignore and much harder to replace. This is why this kind of headline can be interpreted in two different ways. The buyers see controversy, the bulls see relevancy, and the stock reflects that tension. Now, if we step back, the most important thing about Palantir is that the market keeps trying to decide whether it is still underappreciating the company's long-term potential. This is the central question. The bulls say the market is still too focused on near-term valuation and not focused enough on the scale of the AI opportunity. The skeptics would say the market is already pricing in so much future success that the stock may be vulnerable if execution even slips. And that is the debate, and that's why the stock feels so dramatic every time it moves.